Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by One Who Parks on Discord.
This is Aaron, I go by Treffenwood on Discord.
Welcome back for another riveting episode of Infamous. Quick announcements. I just want to give a great shout out to everyone who voted in the Mojo poll this week. I just want to say good job, everybody. Everyone who voted, good job. You guys did good job voting. Let's see here. As usual, links in the show notes. I would keep an eye out. We'll have another announcement next week that should be pretty exciting. But we will see you guys then. Parker, do we have any news this week?
No news, man.
No news, man.
I want it. I want it really bad. I want to speculate. I want hyperbole. I want it.
You guys might agree or disagree with me. I'm really not sure. I haven't run this by you yet. But it almost feels like they're like saving the news for something. Like there's something coming that's like they're saving it all up for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not feeling that.
This feels like a dry spell.
No.
I think it's going to get wet real soon.
Okay.
Parker's like, why do you say it like that?
I don't know. Normally that just makes me happy, but that one for some reason just I felt instantly distasteful.
I can definitely sense the moistness.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. All right. Currently playing. Again, I don't play games anymore. I haven't had time. I want to say I'm going to change that today or tomorrow, but I honestly don't know that I'll be able to. I'll try. It's just been so busy. I don't know if I can get game time in. I'm definitely going to play in the tournament next month, though.
We have to. It's the best kind of tournament.
It is the best kind of tournament.
I love it so much.
Aaron, what have you been playing?
I have been playing Defenders in the Serum League locally.
How many people have you sacrificed, we'll call it?
3?
Who were they?
I can't remember who they were.
Oh.
Ant-Man.
Who's your favorite so far?
King T'Challa and Ant-Man were my sacrifices, at least in 2 of the games. T'Challa was when the serum was like absolutely stupid. Now that it's been toned down a little bit, Ant-Man was fine. But I would play both of them again. Yeah, they're lots of fun.
I think so far ASM has been my favorite that I've seen played. Yeah, ASM was pretty funny.
It's also funny to think of Spider-Man like shooting up and then dying.
Yeah.
There's something like I love Spider-Man, but the thought of that in this game, just be like, I'm done. I'm going out. I love that.
Okay. I have a quick Q&A segment. We're going to do a Daily Bugle segment. We haven't done one of these in a while. But, I love this segment. It's just so hard to get questions that we like. I don't know why. I'm terrible at coming up with these questions when I need to, but it sounds so easy when you say it out loud. So if you guys have like lightning round style, like just quick questions that you want to ask us, please send them in and I'll compile a list and we'll do these more often. I just threw together a quick one today.
He's not talking to us, by the way. He's talking to listeners.
Who did you think I was talking to?
I thought it sounded like you were talking to us. When you say you guys.
Parker, this is what we talk about. You keep patronizing the listeners.
I'm not patronizing the listeners. And I thought you were talking to me, and I realized, wait a minute, he's not. He's talking to our listeners.
All right, the people that can currently hear me, I'm talking to you.
Got it. But I can also.
Exactly. If you come up with these, fucking send them to me, you lazy bastard.
Okay, got it.
You fucking do nothing. Fucking sit in a chair and try to look pretty and go get your goddamn Battle Realms lists.
I got you.
Fucking message me, goddamn it.
I get it.
You fucking loser. Anyway, so we just got a quick one this week. Aaron, what is your favorite MCU character? So the way we're phrasing MCU is character that's currently been represented in the MCU media. And so out of the current Disney Marvel stuff, who is your favorite single character the way they've been represented?
The way they've been represented?
Yes, like how, like, because all of them have small changes to be in the MCU. So who do you think was the best adaptation in your opinion?
I mean,
it could just be the one you like the most. It doesn't have to be like the truest.
My first gut answer was Valentina, but we're gonna We're going to shelve that and go with
Who?
She-Hulk.
Who's Valentina? I don't
Who
recognize
does
the name.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus play?
The girl who runs the Thunderbolts?
I don't know what she does. That's why I was going to say we don't know what she does
Parker?
Yeah, I'm on
Is she the
I'm
one
trying
that
to figure out what
recruits the bad Captain America?
U.S. agent. What is her?
Yeah,
character?
is it the girl? It's what's her name? Elaine from Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah,
Is
Julia
that her?
Dreyfus. He said that.
Yeah.
Said that, right? I know who that is.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right. I
looking
just
for
wasn't
her
sure who
character
you were
name.
talking about because I don't know her character's name. I've never heard it.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Which
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Nailing this shit.
No, good job. I just didn't know who you were talking about.
I mean, it was
Okay.
So that was my
Parker.
gut, but the actual answer is She-Hulk just because I really liked how they did that show.
Okay, so do you like the show or you like the way the character was portrayed?
The show.
Okay.
But the character, I mean, the
We'll
entire
accept
show
that.
about
That's fine.
her, so they're
That's
kind
fine.
of, you know.
I also like She-Hulk, so
Part and parcel.
I'm just double checking. Parker, same question, and then follow-up question, why was it Iron Fist?
I really thought you were going to guess it at first. I thought you were going to guess it because you had the first word right. And I was like, did he just do it? Wow, it's cool. It's Iron Man. Like, not even close.
Yeah, Iron Man was very well done.
And I know he's the first one, and a lot of people could say, but Robert Downey Jr., he's been quoted to say that, like, he loved playing that character because he just feels he's so much that guy. Like, he didn't have to act hard to create that character because he just seems to fill that role so perfectly, and he does. Like, it feels like he ripped him right off the page somehow. A real kind of magical pairing. Everything else you have to like kind of interpret it through the lens of the actor and the writers and the people who are constructing this scene, but not his. And I love Iron Man. I think I have as many Iron Man comics as I have anything else. So Iron Man.
Iron Man's a pretty popular character.
The only thing I don't like is Iron Man, specifically Iron Man 3.
You mean You mean Lethal Weapon 5?
Yeah, Lethal Weapon 5.
Okay,
that's the only one that I'm just like, and I get why they did it, and in the whole, I've seen it again, kind of like you suggested I do, and it's not as bad as I thought it was at first. Yeah. But it's such a departure.
I think it just got a little too Hollywooded, and that's when they decided to really just grab the reins and stop letting other people control their movies. Anyway, good choices. I'm going to go with Doctor Strange. As someone who hasn't read any of the comics, I like the way they portrayed him in the MCU. I like his like quirkiness while combined with like his seriousness tone. I was not a huge fan of the first movie, but I think he's better portrayed as the like side character in other people's plot lines.
Try me,
all right.
Beyonce. Like that's
yeah. So next up, we've got favorite MCU movie.
Am I going first?
Yeah.
We're gonna go with Ragnarok.
Okay. I assume that's pretty obvious why if you like Ragnarok, the reason you like it is pretty obvious. So we'll just go ahead and move on.
It's my birthday.
Yeah. Lord of Sparkles.
Yeah.
Parker, favorite movie?
Guardians of the Galaxy. That was
Volume 1.
Yeah, the one number 1. That the opening credits was the first time. I mean, after seeing so many wonderful MCU movies,
the first time you like got giddy in a movie theater,
yes.
You're like, "Oh, they're doing it!"
Oh my gosh, I was just so blown away. It's first time seeing that kind of movie. It was awesome. Now it's been done, but back then it was such an impression.
I have to go with Endgame. I've said this before. The final battle scene, the way it all sets up with the portals and everything, is I don't know if you can beat 15 years of effort put into one moment, really. And so it's just so great. I love the ensemble movies as well. It's just so fun. I could watch Endgame every day and not get tired of it.
So the only reason I didn't consider that one was because I feel like I'm the type of person that needs to watch the movies to lead up to it. I can't just watch it over and over again. Whereas either Guardians or Ragnarok, you can just watch as a one-off.
Sure. I mean, there's really none of the MCU movies I don't like up until Endgame. I mean, Eternals was kind of weird and not good, but it was okay. Yeah, I know enough about these characters having worked in game stores for 15 years, so I feel connected to them even if I don't see the like startup movies, and so the ensemble cast really have my attention more than the regular movies. Anyway, next question. What is your favorite MCU TV show? Feel free to repeat if you need, because you said She-Hulk earlier.
No. It's probably going to be Daredevil.
Ooh, that's not an MCU TV show. That's
he
Fox.
Sure as fuck isn't in the DC universe, is he?
It's MCU, not Marvel Universe. It's Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's produced by Marvel.
It's
Marvel
being
Studios.
made canon. It's being brought into the MCU.
He's not wrong.
I'm sorry, did you use future tense on that?
I stand by my answers, all of them.
Okay, hold on. So we're counting Spider-Man as MCU, because he's in the Avengers movies and Civil War.
Okay.
Daredevil's character is in No Way Home, so I'm going to give you this one.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, I'm going to give you this one. Parker.
I'm going to go with Loki. I think they did a really good job of telling an original story. Also, the Tom Hiddleston version of Loki is its own like thing, and it was a really good version of that story. Like, really cool way to end a story about a version of him.
Cool.
I thought the show was also paced well. I like that they decided to take 2 seasons, and that's it. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, season 3 will be out soon.
I think I know Tom Hiddleston's on the record for saying he would be the character again, but I think they've already said that Loki, the one who you see in that show, that's probably the last story with that.
Yeah,
Loki.
Tree of Life Loki or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with. I'll put it on the thing and see if you guys smash it. But I'm gonna go with X-Men '97. Is that allowable?
I haven't
seen it. It's not part of the MCU at all.
Okay, but it's Disney Plus, so it's part of the MCU, right?
No, it's one of their properties, but it's not.
Fine, that's fair. I'll pick something else.
I guess if you want to say it's in the multiverse, I guess maybe they would say that.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Sure,
it's a Marvel Studios production.
Okay,
but if you don't want me to, that's fine. I'll pick a different one.
None of those X-Men live in the same universe as any of the other characters in the.
That's fair.
MCU.
Okay. Trying to decide between Hawkeye and Punisher. Then I'll go with Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye is more true to the Marvel universe. And it's just fun. It's just a good show. I wish they would do a second season of Hawkeye.
You want to talk about nail the tone of a comic? That show nailed it.
Yeah, it was like the first time. I mean, so the first time we saw it was in Age of Ultron, where somehow Hawkeye stole the show as the best character in an ensemble movie. But because in the first one, obviously Iron Man was like a big deal, but Hawkeye just fucking stole Age of Ultron. And then, the Hawkeye TV show is, like you said, just so perfect for basically everyone involved. It was just great. Next up, what character from the Marvel Universe, not the MCU, but the Marvel Universe, would you choose to get their own show on Disney Plus? Standalone, not like jammed into somebody else's show, but like get their own first perspective show.
I mean, we're going to go at gut responses today because that's all I got. Toad.
You want a first-person perspective Toad TV show. Aaron, this is why people don't like you.
Oh, God.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. Everyone has pity.
I don't want to know why. I think you should leave it sitting like that.
I think it would be a really down-to-earth, interesting show from not even the anti-superhero, but the non-superhero variant. Like, what if the Wrecking Crew, which had its 30 seconds of fame in the She-Hulk, what if we just followed one of them around and you got to see kind of their regular life? Obviously, they'd have to do it to make it interesting, but yeah, I'd be interested in seeing, just like you talked about, Hawkeye was such a good show because he's a regular dude. He's no superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to follow along one of the...
The fact that he didn't have superpowers is not why the show was good. But it probably had an effect on it because they didn't have anything to focus on other than he's basically a washed-up superhero. Because he's a regular guy that is he's like, his body's been through so much, he can barely even do his thing anymore.
But that's why the character is endearing, is because he's a regular guy, right? So
exactly.
I want to see a regular villain guy.
Character, but
I was actually going to... My suggestion was really close along that. It's actually the Hood, like Parker Robbins' character, because like part of his character motivation in the comics, I think it would translate really well into a TV show, is that he's incredibly resentful of superheroes and supervillains. Like part of his motivation is that he hates that a regular criminal like can't compete in this world, because how can you ever rob a bank when there are people who can tell the future, right? Like, how could you ever like become a criminal empire when people can control like all metal, right? Like that's a bad guy. You have to like muscle into their territory and take. If the world is about like taking a piece of the pie, who of these?
When Hydra's out there trying to fucking take over everything.
Exactly. What pie is there to have? And so Parker Robbins' whole motivation is, I'm going to get a slice of this. I'm going to get a piece of this. And I'll do whatever it takes. And so I think the Hood's character would be a really, really cool one because of exactly that. Like kind of like starting as a mortal and going up, which is another reason why like the MCU's version of the Vulture was such an awesome character. Similar story, right? He's just like, why are we like always, why are the regular Joes always losing in all of this? No one gives a shit about us. We're going to get ours. I think that could be
talk about a great fucking adaptation of a character that was like such a throwaway villain.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Michael Keaton just like knocks that.
It's like was it the Purple Man, Kilgrave?
Yeah.
Also, just fucking knockout fucking adaptation of a character that nobody even really knew. Yeah. Obviously, my pick here is Doctor Doom. I'd watch Doctor Doom content all fucking day long, but I'm going to give a second option because, I mean, it's so obvious that my favorite would be Doctor Doom. I'm going to give a second option that I've heard other people say that I also think would be a great idea. Is I can't remember his character's name, but he's the FBI agent in the Marvel Universe. He's the one that kept visiting Ant-Man while he was on house arrest.
Yeah.
He was the guy from WandaVision.
Yeah.
But basically just do a Fringe spin-off that's the MCU, where he just goes around and investigates weird phenomenons that are around super meta beings. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, we've got this random supervillain in New York that can turn into electricity. Oh, God, he fucking robbed him. It's just him dealing with this shit. And, like, you introduce so many interesting characters that are in the MCU, but you just do these little, like, Monster of the Week episodes where it's like, hey, there's this fucking guy who can control magnetism, and what's he about? And you just like introduce people to all these characters in very relatable ways from a first-person perspective. I think that'd be really interesting. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, Rhino, and you could like give people Rhino's backstory and allow him to then just be dropped in other MCU content while you see like all the origin stories are in this X-Files type show. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. My second one is actually we've only seen her teased, but I want a whole Elsa Bloodstone. Yeah. I think exploring all the MCU monster stuff would be really fun.
Teased. She has her own movie.
Yeah. Does she really?
Bro, grow up. Yeah. Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, she does. But I want more.
I want more.
I just want more.
I'll give you. I mean, specifically TV show. She went Elsa Bloodstone TV show. That's fine.
Well, yeah. I guess just she would be a good character, I think, to explore the monster side of the Marvel universe. But Man Thing, right? Sure. Go with. I'm just thinking some other like.
All right. Well, since we both did two, Aaron, do you want to do a second one? Or do you want to move on?
No, we're good with Mortimer Toynbee.
Mortimer Toynbee. All right. Final question, Aaron. What was the worst MCU adaptation?
I don't know.
There's nothing you didn't like from the MCU?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, I could shit on like stuff that everyone else shits on, like, oh, Eternals was bad, but like whatever. I don't. First of all, I'd have to know what the comics was, so I could know what it was adapted to.
But you can look at the final product and go, "This was dog shit. How did you get here?" Like, anyway, I'll let you keep thinking about it. If you want to come up with something, that's fine. But if you want to leave it blank, that's fine.
We'll see what you guys have to say. My off the cuff answer is Eternals, but
I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I mean, I want to say Eternals because that was the biggest waste of time. But I'm going to put a movie that is just so insanely forgettable. Thor. even though it introduced
the original Thor.
Yeah, even though it introduced a bunch of characters that I would come to really love and care about, the first Thor movie I felt like was just so forgettable. It felt like it should have been the first 15 minutes of Thor 2 or something. Like I just felt like that plot was so bland. But that's just, I know somebody could tell me, watch it again and you'll find it so redeemable.
I like Thor 1 a lot. I think it's better than Thor 2, but I like all 4 of the Thor movies. But yeah, I get how some people don't like it. Kind of like the Captain America, the First Avenger. That's not why you're here. You're not going to like it, but people just kind of like if you're not here for the backstory of Thor, why would you care?
Yeah, I remember more things about the Incredible Hulk with Eric Bana, which is technically part of the MCU, which came out in 2008. I remember more things from that movie than I remember from Thor.
It's not part of the MCU.
Yeah, it is. It's considered part of the MCU.
By who?
The MCU.
By what metric is
Disney.
it part of the MCU? It is not.
Yeah.
It's not canon.
Yes, it is. The Abomination, for example, is...
It's not canon.
He shows up later. No, it is.
That's canon. Ed Norton, not Eric Bana.
Sorry, you're right. Not Eric Bana. The Ed Norton.
Yes, the Incredible Hulk is part of the MCU. Okay, I see.
Sorry. I missed...
No, you're fine.
Just got the wrong actor's name. Yeah.
Speaking of, I like Hulk more than I like Eternals. And one of those movies is bad.
But they replaced the actor, right? Like some people don't think about the Incredible Hulk, that one, the Incredible Hulk as being part of the MCU.
I totally get that. But yeah, Incredible Hulk is definitely part of the MCU.
Yeah, and I remember, and I feel like that, and some people don't like it, and I feel like that movie was. I remember more things from that movie because I thought it was a more impactful movie. That's all I'll say about Thor. I just felt the Eternals is by far the worst movie, though. To me, it's just a huge waste of my time.
Yeah. I'll also go with the Eternals. I thought you were going to say Guardians 2.
Oh, no, I like Guardians 2.
I don't mind Guardians 2. It's fine. I think I'll say the Eternals, and not because I think the movie's like really bad, because like the action scenes are fine. It's just like they didn't ever make an effort for you to care about the characters.
Nope.
I think like they like rewrote the script too many times, because at the end of the movie you find out that like these people are just replicants and they don't really matter. And
spoiler alert.
Yeah. See, I saved you time watching the Eternals.
Yeah. Anything we can say to ruin the Eternals is good for
They did such a great job of portraying that from the beginning, of the replicants that don't matter. Like what they never made you feel like these people were important.
The movie and the entire plot matters so little. There is still apparently a mountain-sized hand and face jutting out of the earth, and the entire MCU gives no fucks. Yeah. Like, it's so weird how much that movie can be disregarded because it was so empty and hollow.
And every time there was a Celestial on screen, I was interested.
Yeah.
But, like, it just didn't matter.
The stinger at the end of that movie was the most exciting thing about that movie to me.
Which one was that?
We find out.
When they're on the ship?
Yeah, the ship. The Black Knight stuff. And the Star Fox stuff. I was like, that looks fun. I want to know about that.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap up Daily Bugle. I love doing these segments. I think it's interesting to see people's takes. This was a fairly boring one because I couldn't think of anything on the fly. But
you started off with you're bad at this, so expectations were low.
I'm really bad at this.
And met.
Please send in lightning round type questions, and I will happily ask these on air. Okay. Moving into our main topic today. We are going to rate the affiliations on affiliation merits only. So we are going to rate these in a vacuum. You can only consider affiliated models for this power ranking. So this is effectively ranking them in the affiliation battle format. So I'm assuming, Aaron, because this was your idea, we are going to allow Hellfire Club and Dark Dimension to have access to everything. Seems fair. Okay, moving on.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we should.
Well, I mean, it's going to be really bad rating if you can only take one model.
Or you just disqualify them from the rankings, one of the two. But we should include them.
So they're either getting an A or an F.
I was going to say,
you pick now.
I think they could get a, what do they call that?
Dormammu's good in affiliation.
In some electives in elementary school, they give you an S, right? So you get a satisfactory.
Yeah, satisfactory.
Yeah. You get a satisfactory or unsatisfactory, right? You could do something like that. On my daughter's report card, that's what they do is for electives.
Yeah. So we're going to kick it off today. We're going to start with the awesome A-Force. We're doing letter grades. S is not a letter grade because
we're not.
If you ever get an S in a class, your teacher is a hippie. Moving on. Parker, do you give S's?
Not once have I ever given
Not once ever? Not one single time?
I did. I once did P and F, which is pass and fail.
Okay, but you never gave an S.
I've never given an S. Not once ever.
Good. You're allowed to continue podcasting.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question here is, are we rating them compared to the other affiliations in Affiliation Battle?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, what else would we rate them against?
I don't know if you... I mean, you guys could do it against it if that's... But I don't... When you give something a grade, for example, you're grading them against like what you imagine to be a very complete thing, right? 100%, right? So like...
Yeah, we're grading it on the curve.
Yeah. Well,
of affiliations.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're like, well, A-Force doesn't have as many great characters as Sentinels, so Sentinels must be a bad grade and A-Force must be a great grade. Like, that's not necessarily the case, because like some affiliations would just automatically be excellent, right? Because they have access to more characters. More is that part of our rating, I guess? Is more is better?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is not a fair rating. This will be unfair based on how many models are in your affiliation and how many good models are in your affiliation.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna open this with D-.
D-?
I just want to fuck with Parker.
Holy shit.
I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm holding perfectly still. My heart was still.
Parker, why do you think they get a D-?
That is words in my mouth. That is not true.
I'm not asking you why you don't think they deserve a D-. I'm asking you why you do think they deserve a D-.
I do not think they deserve a D-.
There's 0 reasons? Not a single one?
No, not a single one.
So,
okay, Parker,
then.
You start us off then. What's your rating for A-Force?
For A-Force, as an affiliation only, I actually would give them pretty high marks. So I'm going to give them a B+, and this is why. Their bevy of models is super stacked. They also get huge benefits from having one affiliate. Oh, sorry. What's up?
I just want to say real quick, I was just kidding with the + - thing. Let's not do that.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to do A through F. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give them a B. And the reason I'm going to do B is they're stacked. Their models are awesome. They get benefits from having more models in the affiliation with some of the best tactics cards in the game. That is really, really good. So you might go, well, how could they possibly not have an A? It sounds like the perfect thing for them. The problem is they are super one-dimensional with their scenario play. So if you get a bad scenario for them, they can just get railroaded so fast. So for that reason, I have to give them a B, and it can't be an A, I think, because their reliance upon low-scoring fighting scenarios. But if you take scenarios out of the play, they would just be an A because they have everything they want in their affiliation, except the ability to play scenario really well.
Play scenario, yeah, the most important thing in the game.
I mean, like to be really flexible in scoring.
Just kidding. I do think they are penalized by the current popular missions they are bad at. Aaron, do you think they have the best tactics cards in the game?
No.
I think Special Delivery is exceptional. I think Stalwart Determination and A-Force Assemble are niche good. I think they are not great. I think there's a huge downside of having a 6-point leader and a single 6-point leader. The one-dimensional is forced basically from that nugget, right? If it wasn't for the fact that they had only She-Hulk, like let's say, I don't know, pick somebody, it doesn't matter. Let's say, Captain Marvel was a leader for A-Force. Then she was like a 4-point leader that could do stuff. Like, it'd be better, right? The problem is that they're locked into the one strategy from their leader. That being said, their strategy is good and their leadership is good. They have, I'd say, slightly above average tactics cards. I think that's all good, but like you said, their one-dimensional strategy doesn't work on most missions that get played right now. I do think they can play well into the strategies that they play. Like, if you play a bricky style, they can play you very well. I'd give them a C, probably. I don't think they're bad. They have a lot of good models, like Parker said. Like, he's not wrong. They have a good strategy. They're just one-dimensional, which just means you're going to get bad matchups a lot.
I agree with everything both of you said, and I give them a B. I actually give them a high B.
You agree that they have the best tactics cards in the game?
It's not what I said.
That's what Parker said, though. You said you agree.
Oh, well,
Let's argue about
I agree
this.
with one of you. No,
Okay.
We're done talking about A4.
That's like me and I contradicted Parker. How can you agree with both of us? Okay. So BBC. Next up is going to be Asgard.
I'm going first again.
You can.
I'm going to give them a. Let's see, how many are there?
9.
Yeah.
While
9.
he's thinking, are you ready? Otherwise, I'll just
Yeah, go. We don't have to talk about each one super in depth.
Yeah.
I know Parker loves A-Force.
I was going to give these guys a D.
Okay, I'm at a C. I think they have enough models to be very competitive in a format. However, they're hamstrung by a 5-threat leader and no 2 threats.
I kind of want to give these guys a B. I think they have 3 exceptionally good, fair-priced models that are going to see the table in almost every game. But like you said, the 5-point leader is rough. And so he kind of like offsets that a little bit. The biggest problem with them is I think they, again, like A-Force, are one-dimensional because you basically have to play their points-efficient models, which means that between them and your leader, you're already in for 4 models, which is going to total you at 15 points, which is putting you in a bad spot in affiliation.
A-Force is the only affiliation that has 2 scoring 2-pointers in it, which is a huge deal for flexibility.
Yeah, that just means you're going to give up Prio, though. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just being mean to Parker. I mean, if you value that, that's great. I don't know that's that valuable in affiliation battle. But yeah, Bill, Valkyrie, and Scourge, I think, are all great models for their point value. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they earn a B. I would say C probably is fair. It's right on the line for me.
Sure.
I think D. I think they need a lot. I think they need help. And when they don't have any help, I think they feel even harder to play than they already
are. Are you saying that for affiliation specifically, or you feel that way in general?
No, in affiliation battle, I think.
I think in affiliation battle, there's a lot worse off people than them.
I'm
like
random.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, dude, there's so many affiliations that can't even build like a functional list. Like, how do you play Sentinels in affiliation only? Like, it just doesn't work.
Well, Asgard literally doesn't work, right? Because they don't have 10 affiliated models. So I don't even know what happens when you play Asgard in affiliation battle.
You don't play 10 models. You
just
play
play the 9.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming that
there's a bunch of affiliations that have 10 models.
Right.
Yeah. With the affiliation battle rules, you get the rogue agents to help fill you out.
I guess we should clarify. Are we doing affiliation battle rules, or are we doing affiliate only?
I mean, I don't know that they significantly benefit matters. Any 1 or 2 affiliations.
There's 2 affiliations that's definitely going to matter for.
You tell me.
I don't care. Well, if we're doing affiliation only, then we're just not counting Hellfire and Dark Dimension. If we're doing affiliated or affiliation battle rules, then you're getting the rogue agents and anyone who would effectively be affiliated with those 2 rules, then it matters a lot. I don't care. Just pick one. It's your topic.
Affiliation battle. So okay. you get your rogue agents.
I think in affiliation battle specifically, then Asgard drops a bit, so I'm comfortable saying C.
Okay.
Next up, we have the Avengers, also known as the Everyone is Affiliated, the faction.
And because of that, it's a clear A.
Easy A.
There are 3 characters in this affiliation. Oh, no, sorry. I guess just 2. Oh, I thought... Okay, I guess I didn't check. I was going to say there's 3 characters in this affiliation that have 3 versions, but not all of the 3 versions are affiliated.
Yeah, the only leader that really loses a lot here is Steve, because there's so many really cool things you can do with Steve with unaffiliated models. But
Which even
Steve, sorry, Captain America, Steve 1.
Okay. Steve 1.
So like,
I don't actually think he's bad in this format.
Well, no, but that's the thing is, even if you took out all the models that don't benefit him, there's still so many left in Avengers. That's how deep and awesome their roster is, right? So,
yep.
What's the third Black Panther?
What? You mean Black Order?
King T'Challa, Black Panther. What's the other one? Chosen of Bast?
Uh-huh.
He's not an Avenger.
Not yet.
He will be, though, we think.
Was he the one? Yeah, it listed what his
Namor.
4 are. I think Avengers is one of them.
Great. So there are literally 3 characters that have 3 versions in the affiliation. Anyway, yeah, it's got to be an A. I don't know how you would argue against an A. Moving on, we've got Black Order.
I'm going to give this one a B. sorry, pardon me. Yeah, I give it a B because it contains Thanos, and you can do so many different things with it. It's really actually tactically and strategically kind of flexible. Building it with different stones, building it with different tactics cards. I think you would actually find this more flexible than you would think at first.
I think being in an affiliation battle actually helps Black Order because you can play, Thanos Corvus Proxima, and you're not at a disadvantage.
You're not taking a huge hit.
Right, you're playing what you wanted to. Other people don't get their splashes that would have helped them.
Yeah, so every Black Order list generally plays exclusively Black Order models.
Yep, so I think it's a B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I'll also give it a B. Brotherhood of Mutants. I'm going to give these guys an A. I think they have such a great stable of models that all work well together, and they can play 2 different strategies in the same affiliation. I think they might not be quite the best, but they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, I also give them an A in affiliation battles. I think this is like the example in the game of one affiliation with just affiliated models and just their cards getting to do kind of whatever style of game they want. And I know Avengers might feel better because they have so much more variety, but I think Brotherhood actually switches even better.
I think pound for pound they have better models on average.
Yeah.
I also have them in an A.
All right. Next up, we have Cabal. I'll probably be alone here, but I'm going to give them an A. I think they have a great stable of individual models that enough of them work well together that they can really get stuff done. Speaking of, I think this is where Parker was wrong earlier because they also have 2 affiliates that score.
Oh, that's right. They do have two twos, right? Bob and
Bullseye.
That's right. There we go. I was wrong.
Because Parker, known as the Liar, is a lie.
That's not what I'm known at all. That's not what I'm known at.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I think, give them a B, but it's close. They obviously have a great stable of models. I'm not sure the internal synergies are on par with Avengers and Brotherhood. Like, what lead are you taking? Malekith, Sin, Red Skull 1, and Red Skull 3? Like, Red Skull 3 is the only one of those leaders that's an actual A.
Sin's not a leader. We'll just cover that right now. She's not a leader.
Okay.
I think that's a misprint. They misprinted her card. It's supposed to just be the plus sign, not the star. But other than that, I'm honestly happy playing any of their leaders.
Okay.
I think you can build a big boys with MODOK, Ulik, and New Ultron if you want. You can build a go wide list. They have with Zemo, Hood, people like that. You can build an efficient, punchy list with Killmonger, stuff like that. I think they can do enough that they earn that top tier. I would say they're probably in the bottom of that tier, but I think they're better than the Bs because I think they're good enough at what they do and they have enough of variety.
Okay.
I mean, you get Mystique in on top of already having a super killy list. That's great.
Another thing that the Cabal does is they're kind of a toolbox affiliation as an affiliation, right? They kind of have an answer for everything, right? You're if your opponent's I'm bringing A-Force and She-Hulk. You're well, he's probably playing She-Hulk, so I can put down Red Skull and Sabretooth, and She-Hulk's fucking dead. That's something you could do.
Dark Reign, right. Cosmic Invigoration. They have a lot of good tools.
Right. And so that's one of the things that's kind of cool about them is if you're a player that can read your opponent's affiliation and when they say their affiliation, you know exactly what models they have, right? So it's you don't have to wonder what kind of cool thing they concocted. You could pretty much tell. So for that reason, I think Cabal does go into the A tier because they have such a great toolbox to dismantle other plans.
I'm going to stick at my B.
Fair.
While conceding your points, I also think that a normal Cabal list will take advantage of splash characters. They have a wide roster, but the quality isn't as good as Avengers or Brotherhood.
I don't think they're as good as those 2. I think they're in the same tier as those 2. Fair
enough.
Moving on, we've got Convocation. as the person who probably plays the most Convocation, I would love to say that they're great at this. Unfortunately, they just don't have enough models because they've only got 8 affiliateds, and like 3 of them suck. Well, it's not that they suck, but like you can't have both Stranges, so they really only have 7. Clea is dog shit. Ancient One is okay, and then Voodoo and Magic are both situationally good, and so like, they just don't have enough models, right? They can't field like a 17-point roster with this stuff. Yeah, like if we just do the math, Strange plus Magic plus Wong is 10, and then just like you've got Voodoo, Mordo, Ancient One left, and Magic. Like you can put a list together and it's okay, but I don't know that they can really compete. And so I would say they'd probably get a C.
A C rank for you can't compete?
I don't think they could compete for winning. I think they have, like, if you just take that pile and put it on the table, you'll win games, but most of those games will be against weaker opponents. Like, you're playing, like, Winter Guard or something. Like, something that's bad in Affiliation Battle. I don't think they can compete to win it, but I think they're good. Like, the tools that I just listed are all good tools. They just don't have enough. If they had, like, 2 more affiliated models, I would say they were much higher. But they just don't have enough models. Like, we're talking about 7 playable models, and 1 of them's a 2-pointer, and 2 of them are 3s. Like, there's just not enough tools.
Okay. Based upon your description, I think I would give them a D, but I'm not. I'm actually going to give them a C because their tactics cards are super cool, and they all say Convocation on them. So you actually can use a lot of their cool tools that you may not see all the time because you like to splash other characters, and so you're incentivized to take the Convocation only cards, but some of them are really strong, and you can absolutely use them.
Actually, most of the cards aren't Convocation only. They said be played by Convocation models.
Right.
Like, I'd say that's their biggest strength normally is splashing good models in their affiliation.
Right.
And losing that is such a blow.
Yeah. But I still think the tactics cards do buoy them up a little bit more than some of the other affiliations that have a bad selection and a bad selection of tactics.
Their incredible flexibility is still keeping them up there, but not by much.
I would say a C.
It's your bedtime, Aaron. Take your time.
Say it again.
I said it's your bedtime. Take your time.
Thanks. It's a C. Everything you just said, I concur with.
Okay. Criminal Syndicate. We're really just talking about Claw here, right?
The only real consideration.
Kingpin is never bad. Restricting your opponent is better than restricting you, so I would say Kingpin almost gets stronger in this format. Yeah. You literally just sort list by point cost and add models. Like, it doesn't matter. They have enough good affiliate models that it really can't be stopped.
It used to be Kingpin criminals didn't have enough, like, potatoes, but now they're full of them. Like,
there's
so many now.
Dude, you get Black Cat and Rhino and Kingpin. Oh my god, it's Sandman, so dumb.
And Sandman now, like pushing you everywhere and not dying. Like, there's so many characters that are just going to sit there and not die.
And they get Taskmaster, who's just randomly great. Like, fuck. Yeah. I think they have to be no lower than a B. I'd probably give them an A. It's so easy to just blitz people out in Affiliation Battle.
It's a solid A.
Yeah, solid A. Also, because you can go with MODOK or SSD.
So we're doing Affiliation Battle, so Dark Dimension.
Is Dark Dimension not allowed in Affiliation Battle?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
They are.
Oh,
no, I'm just saying, because if we were doing Affiliate only, it's just Dormammu, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
But as Dark Dimension, you get the extra power. There's a lot of jank you can do, but they're still probably not super competitive. I'd probably give them a B just based on the width of roster. I don't think the list is particularly great, but you have to say something about you can take any model in the game.
Sure. I still give them a C.
I give them a D for Dark Dimension.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have Defenders. The Johnny-come-latelys of the MCU.
Yeah, I was going to say. Before Daredevil, I would have given them a hard C just for their roster, but now... Ooh.
Well, there's some spice here.
I'm going to give them an A.
Yeah, I'm going to give them an A too.
I will also give them an A solely because they made Punisher affiliated. If not for that, it would have been a B.
Yeah.
So there you go. Probably the biggest sufferers of this change from standard to Affiliation Battle, Guardians of the Galaxy, also known as Guardians of their little corner of the galaxy. Now, to be fair, they have a lot of great affiliated models, but not getting to take whoever the fuck they want is pretty crazy. Agent Venom, Bill, CGR got a huge nerf. They have a great roster, but their roster, like A-Force, is one-dimensional. They generally are going to play a spread-out attrition-based format. I think they probably lose to attrition teams, lose to scenario teams, and they probably hold their own versus most attrition teams. But again, I've never seen them played in affiliation battles, so it's a weird thing to try and wrap your head around. I probably give them a B.
I concur.
I think they're one slot out of the top tier.
I give them a B. I think if you actually play the Guardians models, the list is better than what people think it is. But because their list is so abusable with other models, that's what everybody does to power game.
Yeah.
But the Guardians
nobody's ever seen them play the actual Guardian list.
Right. The actual Guardian list is not the worst.
The OG Guardian list was actually almost exclusively Guardians. Yeah. It just had Ghost Rider in it, in addition to the Guardians. Right. Yep. And now that CGR's in the list, it's very weird. Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to Hellfire Club. This is the easiest day ever.
I roll.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this. Literally, you get no restrictions. Okay, cool. So the A tier list in affiliation battles still A tier. If anything, I think it's obvious they're probably the strongest, and I think affiliation battles nowadays are probably really boring because everyone just plays Hellfire Club.
Most people don't because they have a soul, but if they just wanted to win, you'd be right.
I don't know if you've met people. I've not met many with souls. Next up, we have Hydra. Boy, does Zemo get a lot better as a leader when you have to play Hydra models? Yeah. Boy, my favorite things about Hydra are definitely the unaffiliated models, so I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, the favorite thing, you do like playing unaffiliated. I've played a lot of affiliated models in them.
I love my Hydra models also, but like my favorite thing about them is the unaffiliateds. Like I love putting Venom, I love putting Omega Red, I love putting Mordo in there. Like all those models are so fun to play in that affiliation.
I also love playing Hulk and like Nebula and shit like that. Like you're supposed to do some things unaffiliated with them. I
mean they have one of the cards that lets people be affiliated, and so I kind of wish you could use that in affiliation battle. Like you could play Hydra Sleeper Agent and get whoever you wanted. Like that could be fun. That being said, I'd probably put them in D category. And I think I only push them all the way down to a D because any list you're playing could probably just be Cabal and you have better options.
Okay, so Red Skull 2 is fucking baller. Right?
He's in both.
Sure, but Red Skull 2 as a leader is actually very good. Strucker
I've never liked him as a leader, but I can see the appeal.
Compared to the other Cabal leaders, he's the second best leader behind himself as version 3.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
If Red Skull 2 was in Cabal, he would be the second best leader.
You're saying if his leadership worked in Cabal?
Yes.
He'd be the second best leader in Cabal? Mm-hmm. Like as value of model or for best leadership?
Leadership.
Not even
the
close.
Whole package.
Not even. Okay, so you're saying value of model. Because the 100% the best leadership in the entire game, I think, is Malekith.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's on Malekith. I understand.
Yeah, but in affiliation battle, I think it's a lot more relevant than it is in normal games.
Sure. I guess my point is Red Skull 2 is great. They have an affiliated 2 with Bob.
Sure. We already talked about Cabal has 2 affiliated 2s, so.
I'm not saying they're better than Cabal, but I just think they're way above a D. I think Strucker and Red Skull 2 are both super good.
So my only argument,
affiliated.
I think a C is probably fair, except for like, what is your list that you couldn't just play it in Cabal because there's such an overlap. Like you could make 2 small exchanges and like add so much to your roster.
Well, yeah, so they're not an A. Like no issue there.
But I don't think that makes them a B automatically.
It doesn't automatically make them anything. It's just how well do they compare against the field, excluding Cabal. If Cabal didn't exist, how well would they be against the field?
I don't think that's fair.
I think they're very comparable to, say, like Asgard.
But just hypothetically, let's say we took Inhumans, right? And we said there's a new affiliation called Cosmic Defenders, and all of the Inhumans are in it, plus 10 more models. Like, well, that just invalidates Inhumans, the affiliation. Like, that doesn't mean that without that affiliation, Inhumans are still good, because they are there. You have to compare it according to that. That's my argument. And so if you disagree, that's fine. I'm just saying that I think because Cabal exists, that it basically invalidates Hydra in a affiliation battles format.
I will disagree, but no, I will not belabor the point.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with my gut and give them a B.
I will give them a C.
Okay. I think that's fair. Just looking at their roster, I think you can invalidate 4-point Zemo, even though he's way better in Affiliation Battle. But if you want to play him, that's fine. Zola is basically terrible. Both Crossbones, I think, are basically terrible.
One of them is great.
Yeah. Red Skull 1 being in Hydra is completely irrelevant. Sin is completely irrelevant. Taskmaster is irrelevant because he's a rogue agent. Viper's practically irrelevant.
Spider-Woman's not.
Spider-Woman's not. No, they have some good models, but I'm just saying, you go through and trim out all the models that are like, yeah, they're in here, but doesn't even matter because they either have another version in the affiliation that you're going to take first, or they're just terrible. You cut their affiliation in half. So we got Strucker, Red Skull 2, Zemo 1, Bob, MODOK 2, Red Skull, no, we already did Red Skull, Spider-Woman, and Winter Soldier 2. We're up to 7 models in the affiliation that matter because everybody else is duplicates of the models you're actually taking. That's why I put them at a D. I'm just trying to explain.
It is strange to have how many of their models are super irrelevant, not a little irrelevant, but super.
No, they're like completely irrelevant.
Or copies, like Red Skull 3 times. Like that is odd. In Affiliation Battle, that would make them harder. That was actually one of the things I was thinking about in Asgard before, because I felt like they had so many models that feel so irrelevant.
I've played a roster with all 3 Red Skulls in it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but at least Asgard everybody has a different name in it, right? So, like,
yes,
you could actually
exactly. No, like that's what I'm saying. They functionally have a 7-character roster.
Yeah, maybe they're a D. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Inhumans. Despite having a tiny roster of 8 models, I actually think they're quite good in Affiliation Battle.
I think they're actually really good in Affiliation Battle. A lot of the characters you want to do their trick with, they have. It works.
Mm-hmm. I would give them a B.
I concur.
Me too. If you told me you wanted an Affiliation Battle with Inhumans, I would not be shocked. I would be like, oh, no way.
You also wouldn't be very impressed. All right,
I would be a little impressed.
Midnight Suns. If they took Immortal Hulk out of this roster, I would be a lot more impressed. As is, I think it's kind of a boring affiliation because you kind of just literally take all 9 models and throw in a rogue agent and play Immortal Hulk and see if you can win games. I think it's really boring. That being said, it's probably a B.
I concur.
Is it a B, though? They have Black Cat and Immortal Hulk. Is
Cat,
it
do Hulk Blade?
But so many of their models are opposite strategy.
Yeah.
Because, like, Wong and Black Cat don't fight. And then Iron Fist and Moon Knight are kind of like hybrid fighter supports. And then it's like, oh, by the way, Ghost Rider, Immortal Hulk, Blade. And you're like, well, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Yeah. But all their models work together. It's just like, again, you could probably just play Defenders and make a better list.
Yeah, okay.
Because your list could actually be multi-dimensional as opposed to, look, I press the Immortal Hulk button and pray.
Sure.
Because without unaffiliated, I don't think they can go wide enough to really make their list make sense.
I think they're definitely, you have to respect them because they could go hard. But
the ultimate terrible roster, Sentinels.
Yeah, it's so sad.
So in Affiliation Battle, I think they're legitimately awful. As opposed to, it's been said that your Sentinels list, Aaron, isn't even really a Sentinels list.
Mm.
It's been said. Because you only have 3 affiliated models. So yeah, if your list contains a grand total of 5 models, 2 of which are Mark IVs, 1 of which is a rogue agent, I don't really know what you're doing.
I think if there
this has to be an F.
If there is an F, this is it. Yeah.
Name a worse affiliation in Affiliation Battle.
Aaron, you are the Sentinel Lord.
Okay, so it has to be an F. On a bell curve, this is the F.
They legitimately cannot make certain point values.
Many point holes.
At all. So, yeah.
You have 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. That's your points. Build a list. Obviously they were never intended to be played in this format, but it's what it is. If they said Mark IV was unlimited, why cap it at 2? Unlimited. Would it matter? It wouldn't matter. I'll spot you 6 Mark IVs. It doesn't matter.
Now, yeah, they need 3 other characters in between the 2 and 3 point threat total, and I think they'd be very viable. But
Yeah, I don't think they're bad models. I actually think all of the models in the Sentinels affiliation have a good reason for being there. It's just not enough, right? Like, the fact that they only have 3 entries on their fucking affiliation sheet is insulting. Like, they need to add more stuff. They've already hinted at potentially Nimrod coming out, so we'll see in the future, but as is, they're basically the laughingstock of affiliation battle. Moving on, we've got S.H.I.E.L.D. Boy, this affiliation is really filled out.
Yeah, I think they're actually an A.
They do really like their own affiliated models.
And all their tactics cards are incredibly good. They
Premium,
have two banned tactics cards. So like
that are better than the banned cards.
Yeah, they're both better than the banned ones. Yeah. Like, that's so dumb.
Yeah, I can't really argue against an A. I don't think there's really any reasoning for it. I think their natural predators that currently exist in the meta don't necessarily work in affiliation battle. Or at least not as well, obviously, as where I don't know that S.H.I.E.L.D's really losing anything.
That's the thing. S.H.I.E.L.D. loses nothing.
Sure, is S.H.I.E.L.D. an A to begin with? Outside of affiliation battle?
I would say no, but that's not what we're talking about.
Well, we are, because we're comparing them to, say, Avengers and Brotherhood. Are they as good as those
But it doesn't matter how good they are outside of affiliation battle. We're talking about them compared to other factions in affiliation battle.
Right. You're saying that they don't lose anything because of affiliation battle. I say great. That's true.
But
that doesn't make them an A.
Everyone's losing stuff. No, sure. I agree with you there.
That's
I'm
my
just
point.
saying that I think everybody else, like Avengers is definitely losing stuff. Like, losing Bill in Avengers is a big deal.
Bill is
I'm
less...
asking legitimately, do they lose anything in S.H.I.E.L.D.? Do they even play models that aren't affiliated?
They do. It's usually about 2 of them. There's usually 8 affiliated and 2 non.
Okay. Do we know who they are? Is it usually like Bill? Like they're taking Bill
if I steal Vince's roster, it's Hela.
Okay.
Who is the safe extract of the I like to do damage variety.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'd rather push them down to a B. I've never liked S.H.I.E.L.D. I know they're not my play style, but I know they're good, and so I generally give them the benefit of the doubt. I would naturally probably give them a B here.
Okay, that was where I was at.
But I think their strategy outside of splashable characters is much stronger than it would be in that format.
Yeah.
They also have another problem kind of with like Asgard and Hydra, which is they have a lot of models that just feel really despicable, and you would never ever take them. So
okay. Moving on, we've got Spider Foes. This is one of the affiliations you kind of identify as they take a lot of their own models.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean they don't take any that are outside. I think, though, with the new additions, that puts them in a pretty happy place. I'd probably put them in as a B. I think both of the strategies they play work very well in affiliation battle.
I'd say B, mostly just because of their kind of roster flexibility. A lot of 4s and 3s, and do they even have a 5?
No.
So it's just 4s and 3s. That's just kind of a weird kind of list, like
medium wide. Welcome to Spider Foes.
Right. Medium move. Yeah, move medium base. Like it's just a bunch.
There was a while when you could look at I could tell you. Guess the stat line. It's a Spider Foe model, and you're like, well, it's a medium base. It's 7 hit points. It's 4 physical defense. It's 4 points. Like it was every model they had was medium base, 7 hit points, 4 physical defense, 4 points.
But they do have a complete trap package, right? Like the best trappers in the game are all in the affiliation, and best trapping cards. Like you could do a bunch of cool theme stuff with them.
Yeah, and traps are fun and cute. I don't know how effective they are in competitive play, but they definitely have value. More importantly, I think in affiliation battle, when you're not splashing Hulk and Thanos in every fucking list, they're a lot stronger because it's really hard to deal with those 4-pointers.
Yeah. Also, our extensive testing has shown that if you just run 4-pointers down the table, Aaron just loses.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
I don't think Aaron's ever won a game against a 4-pointer. Aaron, did you give us a rating?
I did not, but it's going to be a B.
Okay. Moving on to the uncanny of the X-Men. This is an A, right? Anyone have an argument against an A? They just have such a strong stable of models.
Yeah, I'll concur.
Yeah, okay. I think A is correct. Also, cool. Then now they have so much cool tactics cards as well. Like they win the tactics cards.
I mean, there's unlimited options. They're like the Avengers at this point. Yeah. Moving on. Wakanda.
So interesting.
Sounds great till you realize you only have 8 models.
And 2 unique ones.
Yeah, 2 double dips. Yeah, so they basically have 6 models.
I'm going to give them a B, only because they do have the flexibility, especially now with the T'Challa to 5. They have all of the point totals. Those 6 to 8 models are very good, but they're not on the A tier. But I think they're above C. We're going to B.
I think it's fair. I look at it in the reverse. I think everything they have is great. They just don't have enough of it, right? Like they're just a little thin on the bulk. They need some more drop-ins to really fix it. And they really don't care who it is. Like, guy standing there holding knife. Congrats, you're on the team. Let's go. Like, they just need a couple more models, and they can finish it out. Parker?
I'll give them a B because I'm always scared of them.
No, I think they deserve the B for sure. The Spirit of Wakanda bullshit that's probably going to get banned soon is totally fucked. Yeah. They definitely deserve the fear. Weapon X. My, how the turntables have switched around themselves. They went from worst affiliation to good. Turns out if you just add broken-ass models to affiliation and press the run at opponent button, it works out.
What grade
I'd give them at least a B. I think there's too many good models in the affiliation. The only argument against giving them higher is that you think X-Force is better. And they share so many models. But you're losing, most specifically, Apex Predator, which is really, really a good model. But yeah, X-23 Logan is just so nuts. And then throwing in your mediocre to okay models are Domino, Deadpool, Honey Badger. Like, I think we're doing pretty good. Again, the only problem is they could use a couple more models to fill out point totals. Like, they'd really like if they could get, like, a Cable type in there. But they can't, so... Probably put him at a B.
I put him at a C for that last thing you just said. I feel like X-Men and X-Force cover a lot of their bases and just have more flexibility, a lot more flexibility. So I think Weapon X is just too far below both of them to be a B. I think it's a C.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point. Just giving up Apex Predator to play X-Men instead is probably a good point. I just think Apex is that good, that he's better than any 4-pointer you're going to add to that list, is my only argument. I don't know that there's a bad point total for them either, because it's 4-4, 3-3-3, 3-2, and so you just literally just add Killy until you run out of points, and then run at them. Like, it's just a brain-dead affiliation.
Aaron, where do you set it?
It's going to be a C.
Just good man.
The lack of flexibility.
It's fair.
But if there was a plus minus, they would be in between the B and the C.
Yeah. The only reason I gave them a B is because I think that it doesn't matter what else you put in their roster. They're just going to press that button anyway.
Yeah.
It's like you gave them all the tools they want. They're just going to run at their opponent and have the smoothest. They're going to have the glass marble brain and run at them. It's like, you can't stop me. I'm not thinking. You're like, got it. Good job. Web Warriors. Is losing Wong that big of a deal?
And Beta Ray Bill.
They don't play Bill.
You can't.
Do Webs play Bill now?
They can.
They can.
Gross.
The one that beat me at Adepticon did. The one who won the entire tournament did.
That guy sucks. That guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
I did love when Quentin was like, yeah, I agree that your 2-2s is legit. I was like, we did it! Fucking body blows. He had to admit my Web Warrior list was good. He still won't play Peter 1, though. This is A tier, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, we're moving on. A tier, congrats. The rich get richer. Winter Guard. Shut up. Winter Gardo.
I actually want Aaron to go first because he played these guys unironically. So I want to know what.
No, he played them ironically.
No, he only does things unironically. Have you met Aaron?
That is not true.
They're a D.
Yeah,
they're not as bad as Sentinels in affiliation battle, but they're still not great.
I think we really. This is why it's better to prep ahead of time and make a list. We have no Ds. but we also only have one F. So, like, if you just do the bell curve, we've only got 2 of the 28 affiliations on the left side of the curve.
Yeah. And I also want to amend, after doing the list, kind of calibrating things, Asgard is not a D. I thought it was, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a C.
Nope, you said it was a D. I'm holding you to it.
I am recanting.
I'm going to argue for Winterguard to be in the F category.
Oof.
Solely because, like, again, just play another. There's no argument to play them.
Crimson Dynamo.
If that's your argument, you lose, in my opinion, honestly. Like, he is amazing.
Yeah.
He is a truly S-tier model in the game. Nobody can replace him at what he does. I even think Omega Red is legitimate. Like, Red Guardian. I love Red Guardian. Congrats, that's the end of your list. Like, what are we talking about? Like, there's no way those 3 models are better than the best 3 models of any other affiliation. Even Weapon X has a better top 3 than that. Sorry, I take it back. Sentinel's obviously worse. Actually, no, I take it back. Actually, I think the best 3 models in Sentinels, we're just doing like Prime, Cassandra Nova, Taskmaster. Like, honestly, there's an argument. I don't think Winterguard is actually that bad. I think the devs have gotten really good about not making absolute dogshit models. Like, that's not really a thing anymore. Everyone is useful, except for Darkstar. Everyone else is useful, but it's just not enough. They need more.
They literally gave them more, though. Like,
they did.
Operative and Black Widow.
Honestly, if Colossus was in here even, like, that'd be something. Colossus is fucking annoying. Like, just park him next to Crimson Dynamo. Like, what do you do? Like, this guy's never gonna fucking die. All right, I guess we'll move on.
I agree with the D.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an F just to push the numbers down, but they're not unplayable. They're just bad. X-Force. It's a pretty solid affiliation. It's got a lot of tools. Not an affiliated 2-pointer is kind of rough, but in an affiliation battle, you got to make sacrifices.
Honey Badger's a 2-pointer.
That's. I meant. Sorry, I didn't say contesting. I meant contesting.
Oh, okay.
Honey Badger as your 2-pointer is unfortunate, but she's not a bad model. She's just very specific. And I think X-Force needs the contesting models. Of the models they have that they push forward, they need them to contest. And that's the only reason I don't like her. I think everything else she does is great. They have a lot of great models. I think, honestly, like, Bishop's not great, but I think Colossus is the worst model in their affiliation. And he's not bad. I'd probably give them a C, just on the back of Cable.
Wow. Here I am debating between A and B.
That's what I was doing.
But, like, why would you play them over X-Men?
One wants to play scenario, one wants to kill shit good.
But you can just build the same list. When you don't get unaffiliateds, I think the math changes completely.
In what way?
Because
I'm intrigued.
Because X-Force, I think, functions on the back of unaffiliated models.
Of unaffiliated models?
You don't get Rhino, you don't get Logan. It's a different list. Because all of a sudden, X-Men actually start out-damaging you because they've got better models.
I mean, sooner whip my ass with a completely affiliated X-Force as squad
In
goals?
that particular squad, I believe it can work, but not as a take-all-comers list. If you played that squad against everybody, how would you have done? Like, it might have worked really well in your particular matchup. That doesn't mean it's a great list against everybody.
Sure. I don't know that Logan is, like, required for X-Force to be good.
I don't think he's required. I think he's a big part of how they get their coverage.
Okay.
Like, if the whole point of the list is tempo, well, take away Cable, what tempo is in this list? And so it's just a different list than I think you normally see.
I think Psylocke and Deadpool are both tempo models.
Deadpool's definitely not a tempo model, and I don't think Psylocke is.
Well, aren't we talking about models that can, like, get onto the midline and attack? Can't they both do that?
No, so tempo models are models that increase the speed of the game, right? They do that by high action economy or high ability to threaten the table. Deadpool has a range 4 attack, but a lot of models have a shitty range 4 attack. His is slightly better than most for a 3-pointer. But, like, Psylocke doesn't do anything on the first turn outside of getting help. And so if you can give her extra power, then Psionic Enhancement comes online. So, like, if you can get her the extra power, it's a big deal. But then your opponent also has to walk into that small attack range. Psylocke is a later turn model. She becomes a monster throughout the game. She's amazing, but she's not a tempo model. Like, I would argue that, like, Hawkeye's a tempo model because he's bringing threat earlier. He's increasing the speed of the game. He's increasing your action economy.
Sure.
But yeah, the outside of, like, you could do advanced R&D, and then Wolverine can become that. Logan is that because he's getting basically a charge on every attack because he's got a range 3 place attack. I don't know. You guys can vote higher. I just think that
I appreciate the discussion.
Battle, yeah.
I'll go with the B.
Yeah, I just think X-Men is better in this format because they've got enough options to fill out their squad. I don't think X-Force does. I think they become kind of pigeonholed at the one thing they do with only affiliated models. And I think Weapon X or X-Force, I keep misspeaking. Weapon X or X-Men, I think, are both better at what they do than X-Force. But I do love X-Force. I think they're a good affiliation. I just don't think they have the tools.
Sure.
I give them a B.
Cool. That rounds out the affiliation lists. Parker retroactively gives Asgard a C.
Yeah.
Our tiers are so top-sided. It's like, there's like 6 A's, I want to say like 8 B's, and like 10 C's, and there's like 4 total below that.
Well, that's because we graded not on a curve.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Also, like, a lot of, it's clear that the makers of the game, designers, wanted affiliations to feel a little bit synergistic, right? They wanted teams to feel like teams and not just random collection of models. Dark Dimension, Hellfire.
Yeah.
That's why those two really stick out, actually, is because they're the only ones who just totally break that convention. Everything else feels like it can work together.
It's also so weird because so seldomly in other games have we ever encountered a game where there was never an intention for them to be balanced against each other, right? Like, back when we played War Machine, was there ever a time when they just openly said we never wanted Kador to be balanced against Signar? Like, they never did anything like that. It's like in Blood Bowl, did they ever say, well, we don't want orcs to be as good as humans? Like, a little bit. Like, the stunty teams are intentionally, like, worse.
They have called out that their game is specifically imbalanced, not just with respect to stunty, so...
Yeah, but I think if we were looking at it, I would say that the worst team in Blood Bowl is closer to the best team in Blood Bowl than the worst team in MCP to the best team in MCP.
Affiliation-wise?
Affiliation-wise, yeah.
With affiliation battle or just in general? Because I would agree in an affiliation.
Is that it's designed that you don't have to only take affiliated stuff. Like, that's part of the game balance. And so, if we were looking at only affiliation battle format, like Sentinels to Avengers or to Webs or whatever you want to say is the best, like, I think that's a much bigger gap because Blood Bowl has rules for crossing that bridge, right? Because they've got, in-game inducements and stuff like that. Or like, tier of team benefits. And so it's just odd to see a game with intentional imbalance in that way. Parker, do you have a comic corner?
Yeah. Do you think we need one?
Well, why don't you hit us with a comic corner?
All right. So our comic corner today is actually something I just got done reading, and it's going to sound like deja vu for any of you guys who listen a lot, because it's the Uncanny Avengers. And if that sounds familiar, it's because this is actually a reprisal of the title after what it was like. I want to say like maybe up to like 6 years since the last time they put this up. Gary Dugan and Javier Goran restarted it recently back in August of 2023, so not too long ago. And it's the Uncanny Avengers taking place during the fall of the Krakoan Age. So I'll try to keep spoilers light, but Krakoa is falling, they are failing, and the mutants are now on the run as a new pro-human organization called Orcus is basically trying to turn all of planet Earth against mutants in a really concerted way. As in a big geopolitical masterstroke, they framed the mutants for a lot of stuff. And guess who doesn't like when downtrodden people are being framed by geopolitical entities? Captain fucking America. So Steve Rogers decides he's going to restart the Unity Squad, which is a mixture of mutants and metahumans, and they're going to do something about what Orcus is trying to do to blackmail all of the mutants. Their primary goal is taking on Captain Krakoa. Captain Krakoa was originally a publicity stunt done by Krakoa itself to kind of be the public face of heroism from the Krakoan mutants. And he worked out of New York City, and he was kind of their flagship superhero. But somebody has taken up the power suit that Forge made for them using Krakoan technology, and is a new Captain Krakoa. Neither the mutants nor the Uncanny Avengers know who's doing it, but he is going around committing acts of terror in mutant name, right? Saying, I am Krakoan, and I'm going to do these terrible things to you because you're humans and we're mutants. And the Uncanny Avengers are going to try to stop him and undo the damage he has done. The members of the Uncanny Avengers are awesome. It's Monet St. Croix, Rogue, Captain America, of course, Psylocke, Quicksilver, and my favorite is Deadpool. Finally, Deadpool's an Avenger. He was once before, but this is a newer take.
One time.
Yeah, very, very modern take. And so their team dynamic is awesome. Like the different personalities in it are absolutely fantastic. Also, it's cool to see Captain America, instead of like, shining superhero on a hill, he's definitely like an underground freedom fighter, right? Working with this group that's hated and feared rather than, the Avengers. Everybody's always cheering him on. So seeing him be this kind of a rebel cell kind of leader is super cool. So that dynamic is really fantastic to explore. So it is a really, really fun book. And also, if you're following the end of the Krakoan Age, it's pretty important. It's a keystone part of that. I'm going to talk a lot more of the Krakoan Age fall stuff. But it's not quite over yet, actually. It's just now being released out on Marvel Unlimited, so we don't actually know quite the end of the story yet. Although I think if you have it on paper in the individual issues, it may have finished by now. But I'm really excited to get to the end of that. But this one, the Uncanny Avengers, there's only, it looks like 5 issues. Doesn't really get to the end of that. So if you want to read that by itself and you're like, I don't really know what's going on in the Krakoan Age stuff, it is not massive spoilers. But you do get to find out who is the Captain Krakoa, who is behind the mask and doing all this stuff. So it's really cool. I recommend it to anybody who just wants to see cool Avengers / X-Men content.
Cool. They don't do a lot of the mutant X-Men crossovers. Or sorry, Avengers X-Men crossovers. So
yeah, it's kind of a rare thing. I was really also the guy, the man writing it, Dugan, is running the entire boat really for the fall of Krakoa. So he's writing just a ton of stuff, or he has written just a ton of different stuff, or had his hand in writing it. But he personally wrote this one without any co-writers, so this is something he was excited to do. And it shows. There's a lot of attention given to it. The dynamics are also great because X-Men, famously have a giant chip on their shoulder, and Avengers are always, kind of constantly exhausted by the constant, saving humanity. The days, unlike any other, seem to happen every other day. And so, like seeing
days that end in Y.
Right. So that dynamic plays out a lot, right? In just a repartee, right? And also Deadpool is just really funny, like in between character. That he has done really well in it. Like a lot of times when you throw Deadpool into a mix of any team dynamic, but he constantly plays the two's like idiosyncrasies against each other and points it out in the middle of firefights. Sometimes it's pretty fun.
Let's see. That reminded me of the only time I actually just randomly picked up a comic and tried to read it. I can't remember the name of the title, but it's Bullseye, Sabretooth, and Juggernaut are in this like crime syndicate, and it's just like a comic of just them. I start flipping through it, and they're like running around trying to figure out what's going on in this like weird abandoned cave base thing. And so they come across a big mine shaft that just goes way, way down. And so Sabretooth scales down to the bottom real quick. And Juggernaut's just leaning over the hole, looking down into the darkness, trying to figure out what Sabretooth has found. And Bullseye just walks up behind him and pokes him with a knife. And he, like, jerks up and loses his balance and falls off the cliff. And then it cuts to 3 panels of Sabretooth standing at the bottom of the opening, kind of like cautiously looking around all quiet-like. And then just out of nowhere, Juggernaut, moving at the speed of sound, crushes him to the ground. It's just like, what the fuck? And so that's the only comic I randomly picked up and tried to read.
Yeah. Bullseye is a wonderful... When he's used like that, where he's just kind of an agent of chaos, right? It's complete self-interest. It's wonderful.
It was pretty funny.
Some of my favorite stuff is Deadpool and Bullseye, like, together. There's a wonderful Deadpool issue where they go on, they decide to work together on a contract, and how Bullseye treats him and talks to him, it's wonderful. You would think that Bullseye would be, like, annoyed by him because he's kind of more professional, but it's actually not the case. Deadpool's trying to, like, get under his skin and trying to do his shtick, and Bullseye, like, you don't get it, man. Like, I'm not...
Because he's like, he's like a former soldier / half crazy anyway, so he doesn't care.
Like, you're not going to be able to show me anything I don't already know. Like, I don't care.
I've already seen the blackness. It's too late. All right, well, let's go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to The Gang Rank Stuff.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
And we're back. We did it again.
Not gonna lie, us getting started with the cast just now and the clapping to time ourselves reminded me of how
they can't hear the claps, right?
I know they can't hear the claps,
but
know
they don't know.
I know they don't know, but we
talk into the void right now.
We clap to time, right? That's what every podcast member has to do before we start. And I am so thankful
we do
for Brandon to be the one who counts the clap, because he counts down to make sure we're all in the same one. Because
you did it with Jeremy once.
I had the pleasure of being a guest in the podcast where Jeremy was doing it, and I really enjoyed the podcast. But that first 5 seconds of clapping was so nerve wracking, because this is what I heard, Jeremy. All right, we're gonna clap. 1, eat, or 1, and I was like, what just happened? And I was like, I didn't hear 5. I only heard a piece of 3. What the fuck is going on? And I had this mental panic where I was like, okay, I'm just going to do my very, very best. And it was his poor internet connection was so terrible.
I tuned in for their first Judgment podcast for the very start to make sure it got going okay. The pace at which that man counts is an enigma to everything. It doesn't. It's like watching a wobbly wheel. It's like, what are you doing?
So that everything
else
has
gotten much better.
Yeah, everything else about that experience was top notch. I had a great time, but that was the only thing that I was just like, Jesus, I don't know if I could do this once a week. I think I would.
I'm excited for I got a good list of movies here. I got a good list for Mojo.
I started with 3 and I was like, I guess that's it. And then I went through the list again. I was like, wait, I've seen a lot more of these movies than I thought. And some of these are pretty badass. And I was able to go more than just 3. But 3 came to mind immediately.
Yeah, you guys are going to get a gift because I haven't seen probably his best movie. So,
oh, really?
Or the best movie that he is
in. That you heard? That's why you don't?
I know it's a good movie. I just haven't watched it.
Okay.
It's just never. It's not my normal go-to, genre. So it's just never become a priority. I do kind of now that we've been doing this and we've been doing actors, it's really given me the desire to go through and like binge in actors movies as opposed to like watching a TV show. I think that would be fun. Just like go watch a bunch of Robin Williams movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of done that in the past, but not like in one sitting.
Speaking of binging movies, I'm now on episode, 11 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep.
So, of course, there's the part where he has...
You're not even good to the good stuff yet.
I actually... I got past the part where he was binging movies, which is why it made me think of this. Like, because he makes a connection with another character because he's become a cinephile during his training because it's like maintaining his focus while he watches movies. Which I thought was like an interesting concept. What's the best way to put this? It's not that I've been disappointed by the show at all. I found the show very entertaining, and it is fun to watch. It's broken like conventions a little bit, but the way you talk about this show made me, I guess, you didn't ruin the show, but you set the show on such a high...
set the bar high.
Yeah, you set the bar on such a high...
There's still a lot of good stuff to happen.
Okay. Because you said, like, people,
I think it was in the same place you were at right now, because the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, this show is better than I expected, but worse than advertised. Okay. And then as it kept going, I went, oh, okay, yeah. I get it now.
I expected it to be less anime, honestly, because
it's very anime.
It's very.
You think it's going to be like a bro anime or something?
No, it's not at all.
The name is really odd. It has nothing to do with the show, almost.
Yeah. Also, when you said don't fall in love with characters die, that set me up because I was like, okay, when are they going to die? When I've been doing that, I've been finding myself doing that all the time. To be
fair, I've literally just been telling everybody that about everything because of Attack on Titan. It's like, just don't get used to characters. They're all going to die.
And I decided, I was like, wait a minute, this is an anime. This is like an anime. Most people have plot armor, that some don't, but most people have plot armor.
No, nobody dies. It's fine.
Yeah, it's
don't worry. You can get attached to whoever you want. Do you have a favorite character so far?
Goju, right? Goju?
Gojo.
What is... I'm sorry, I don't... Gojo. Yeah.
Gojo. He's everyone's favorite character.
I also love that one of the things that I like about... and not many animes do this, they just put the most badass, like, pinnacle character in, like, the first episode. Yep. And I think that is actually one of the anime departures that I really appreciated. Yeah. He is not just a master. He is like incredibly over the top powerful.
He's just like if you could distill talent and like natural ability into one thing, it's like, oh, he just has 100% of that. So he doesn't even try. He's just like that good.
But instead of being a hard as nails character where everybody's constantly trying to live up to his expectations, he's incredibly laid back. And in fact, he's not just irreverent of authority. He's actively working against authority and trying to undermine it, which I think is also kind of interesting that he is.
You have a character that just blatantly says that I would kill you if I thought it was worth my time.
Right.
And you're like, oh.
Right.
Very rude.
Yeah, he's
like, shut up, idiot.
He also he cares very much about the main character in like a really sincere way, and we even get like off camera moments, right? Where like he's there with other members of the society talking about the character and how they're treating him and how much he doesn't appreciate it. So like we're watching him stand up for the main character. Like it is his character is one of the most interesting sensei type characters I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They really decided to take all the rails off of that trope, and really let him be a totally different thing, which I think is.
It's also just very cool to see what is effectively a space mage be like effectively a major character in a show.
Yeah.
Normally characters that can do stuff like that, like from like Black Clover, there's a guy who can create portals and stuff, but he's a throwaway character for the most part. Like he's one of the friends of the protagonist, but like he isn't important to the plot. Right. And so it's just really interesting to see what like a guy who with like an anime brain and is writing a show is like, what if we just made a random guy who can manipulate space, like the most powerful thing in the universe, and then put him in the show?
Yeah.
You're like, well, that would be weird. Like, what would you do about that?
Mm-hmm. And make him show up on like episode 1. Like, just put him in at the very beginning.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to like Gojo when I started watching the show because everybody seemed to like him. But I think it's almost impossible to truly hate him other than the fact that he's popular.
Yeah.
He's just a funny character.
And
also, you haven't even gotten to the cool parts of Gojo yet.
Oh, so. Really? Also, the ending theme of this show fucking slaps. And
you have no idea.
What?
Dude, the season 2 second half intro, really? I have on a playlist.
Oh.
Like, it's so good.
The ending credits scene is just fantastic. The scene is fantastic.
Good. Like, all the music is good.
Yeah.
But
this is one of the only, I think there's been like 2 anime ever that I've ever sat and listened through every end credits because I just like the end credits. And I do that on this show. I want to hear it every time. I skip the intro, but
I have never skipped the season 2 second half intro, and I never will. It's such a good song. I listen to the whole thing every time. And I put the actual song on one of my playlists. I listen to it constantly.
That's fantastic.
It's so good. Anyway, that's probably enough anime talk for Aaron. He's going to sleep.
Aaron.
So anyway, more Jujutsu Kaisen. He said 0 words.
I had to take a break from it today and read a comic book because I realized that I had it in the background. I actually had to switch. I watch every anime dubbed. I just like dubbed more. But this one I because there's so many freaking summer chores, I had to switch to English just so I wouldn't have to stare at it all the time, so I could like fold laundry.
You mean subbed? Not dubbed. Dubbed is English.
Sorry. Whip it around, yes. So I watched it all subtitled, yes, in Japanese.
Do you know why? I have a theory. But do you know why I think people like subbed better?
Oh, why?
Because when they hear the stupid shit anime characters say in English, it sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that the words are... Like, I can hear a fine argument that the Japanese voice actors are better than the American voice actors. I'm not going to argue against that.
Yeah, that's not always true.
But it's just that when you hear somebody say the, like, anime moves in English, it sounds fucking idiotic. And it just is cringe, and so you don't like it. But when you hear it in a language you don't understand, and you read it, you get the meaning... but it sounds cooler. And so they make the connection that it's better, but I don't think it actually is better. If it is better, it's by like tiny margins that are irrelevant compared to how inconvenient it is to have to read all of the text, because you can't do anything else. You have to focus.
And anime also gets like a bad rap because the old school dubbings were so literal and so like they weren't taking... Yeah,
the translation was bad, and so it sounded even worse.
Right.
But I think it's more just like, it sounds dumb to hear. Like, Demon Slayer is a good example. Like, they have to do every fight in like 1/3 speed slow motion because of they name all of their moves, and every time they do the move, they have to say the name. But it's like a 3-sentence name on the move, and I'm like, you couldn't play this at full speed. If you played it, they'd sound like freaking the Chipmunks. Like, it would sound so stupid.
But it sounds amazing in Japanese. In Japanese, it sounds so badass.
But it sounds so badass in Japanese because you can't hear what he's saying, but he's like, French toast is better with fries. And you're like, that's so stupid. Like, what is he saying? But because you can't understand him, but you're reading it, you get the meaning, but it sounds cooler because it's not cringe. And so, like, oh my God. Like, watching Demon Slayer in English is very weird because he just, like, repeats himself over and over and over again because he has to say the family of the style he uses, and then the family of move, and then the specific move. But it's like water breathing, water step, water slash, and you're like, okay, bro. Okay. Like, you can't say that out loud.
I'm gonna do one that's just the last thing I'm gonna say, and we can move on to something else. There is one thing
having a great time.
There's one thing about Japanese animation that does bother me, regardless of what language it's in. And this must be a Japanese cultural thing, which I guess wouldn't bother me, but it's one of the things that sets this medium apart from every other medium, is their incessant need to rank everything. Like, everything is ranked.
Oh, like classify, like, this is the rank 1 guy, I'm the rank 2 guy.
Right,
so
right.
You know he's stronger.
This is an X rank, and also the characters are always constantly talking about it. They will break the show completely to show you charts about ranking, so you can be very, very aware of how the ranking systems work. Like, It's always
It's just exposition, in my opinion. They just want to show you that they intend you to believe that these people are stronger than these people.
Sure, but it's a weird. I would like to know, and I don't know. Maybe a listener could tell me. Because there's some things that I know come from the anime we know come directly from Japanese poetry or Japanese architecture or Japanese plays and theater. Like, we know so many of these characters are like evolutions of these things. Some of these tropes that we see show up all over and over and over again. But one of these tropes is that they rank everything. And the ranks are also very, very important and like key to the plot. So I wonder where that comes from.
Probably has something to do with like status, because I know they have like a status symbol thing. It's like, you've achieved like rank B or whatever. Yeah, because like One Punch Man, I think, does it in a fairly intuitive way, and I think Jujutsu Kaisen also does it that way. Like it doesn't take me out of it at all that they rank them, because they give a reasonable reason to have done so. Like, well, we need to have a rating so we know that you can accomplish or effectively defeat this person, or else why would we send you out on this mission just so you would die? Like, it would make no sense. And so it just gives them a way to categorize everybody. It's like, oh, well, this is a threat, first grade, so we have to send a first grade person to go fight them, or else it'd be, suicide.
But I suppose, like, if in like American spy movies, I expect to hear like a DEF CON thrown in there somewhere, right? But not every single character will be hyper focused on what DEF CON level they're at, or what DEF CON level the conflict is at. And that's something that you see so pervasively in this. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I just noticed it today after I was just like, and it's because I wasn't focused on the story. Kind of like you said, I don't notice it most of the time, but because today I was forced to kind of split my attention and watch an anime while I was folding laundry or doing dishes or picking up, toys or whatever. So it was one of those things that I was allowed to hear ranking like in my headset like 3 different times, and I was like, huh. Come to think of it, this is something that I'm constantly hearing in all these shows. I wonder where that is, or what cultural component, lends that to show up so often. But anyway, neither here nor there.
Yeah, I imagine it has something to do with the status ranking.
Yeah. I know some things come from like post World War II sentiments. Some things come from like super early era stuff. But I'm interested to know.
So, Aaron, how is Blacklist going?
Going well.
Are you enjoying it?
Enough. I mean, it's fine. It's a standard.
What percentage of persons of interest is it?
Where I'm at now, or the show in its entirety?
Right now, yeah. Like, how's it going right
now? It's like at a 2 out of 5 compared to persons of interest.
So it's like 40% persons of interest?
Yeah.
I would have reversed those rankings. Where are you exactly? Like season 7?
End of season 8.
End of 8, okay. I think that's after the big plot twist.
Depends. There's a lot of big plot twists.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say anything to give anything away, but...
Yeah.
Parker, you saw Attack on Titan, right?
Yes.
You watch all of it?
Yes.
To the very end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember after the time skip, there's like those weird episodes where you're not really sure what's going on?
Yeah.
And they're in the other country, and then like everything fucking hits the fan?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that part of Attack on Titan. Did you like that part?
Yeah, I one of the things that I think is really cool about that show in general, or like any show that does this, is when they go, yeah, we could just tell like a hero's journey, but instead we're going to like involve a multinational like conflict, and like that'll be part of this story, a multi-generational, multinational conflict. Like I think it was cool, because you could just make it one hero in a big world, or one big bad guy, one antagonist, but they didn't. They really pulled.
You prefer the like global genocide?
Well, it just makes, what's the best way to put it? It what it does, and it was supposed to do for our, like how we feel about Eren Yeager, is that it's less about his journey, and as it turns out, he's more just kind of like a byproduct of this world, right? Like he's just.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
like
anyone who grew up in this environment would be extremely bitter and psychotic.
Right. Like, one of the cool, like, if he does have a journey, it's such a warping thing, right? His demeanor, his persona is so radically altered. And that's one of the things, a transformation kind of thing is supposed to occur on characters. But but he's basically turned into a force of nature. It's really I think one of the reasons why that movie did something kind of similar. What's the best way to put it? There's shit, and I'm just blanking on it. There's another anime that did this. Just kind of takes the main character and just kind of turns them into basically a force of nature. And I can't remember.
You can't think of anything about it.
What?
You can't think of anything about the character or the show. I'm usually pretty good at.
I thought it was like, for some reason, I thought it was like a. At first, I said Akira, but that's not true because he's not really. There is a force of nature character, but that's actually Akira, the guy who's he's never a character, right? He's always just this being outside of nobility, and one of the main characters becomes that same thing slowly over the course of the movie, right? Becomes completely unrecognizable. So it's similar, I guess, in concept, but that one's done in a much more compressed space, right? In terms of a lot less time for us to see that transition. But they did the reason why that movie leaves such an impression is because it does such a good job of making you care about that character. It's basically turned into something it never wanted to be. Loses its humanity, right?
I didn't really mean to start a huge conversation on this, but I need to figure out what I'm playing for the Battle Realms tournament.
Me too.
I love Battle Realms so much. I'm so excited. What that'll be June 6th, right? June 6th.
July 6th. July 6th, yes.
Okay, I'm going to put this on the calendar right now. I think it'll go through.
Requesting approval.
Yeah. I think it'll happen because everything we wanted to happen didn't happen, so it's all fallen apart. And
nice.
I'm going to benefit from it. I love Battle Realms so much. I can't lose with what I pick for Battle Realms because I get to play Battle Realms. Hold on. I have the Battle Realms. I need to look. I have those little printouts. Was that you guys who made the printouts before? The little Battle Realms printouts? I did. Yeah, I'm gonna grab mine real fast.
What? Really? Oh god. Why? It's just a little printout of the turn order.
Yeah.
Do you really need that?
I needed it now because I was like, if I'm actually going to answer this question, I thought I haven't got to play A-Force in a while, and I think I would like to play A-Force.
A-Force is terrible. It's even worse than Battle Realms.
You saw my double take there as I was processing that. I just wanted to make sure that I could recruit one character because I haven't played A-Force in a while. And if somebody bans She-Hulk, that'd be sad.
Yeah, you have to pick her first.
Yeah. I don't play Battle Realms to game it, though. I play Battle Realms because I really like the format. It's super fun. We could talk about picking Battle Realms on the currently playing. Why don't we do some Mojoverse and we get into it?
I think we're a little. I guess it's. I was thinking we would do that next week as we talk about Battle Realms, so it's that week.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you just not like choose every character, just.
No, or just talk about the format in general.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of what I had in mind for next week.
Okay.
And then. I mean, honestly, we're getting up to, there's going to be a lot more shit going on. Unfortunately, it's been kind of a dry spell lately, so it's been hard to come up with a lot of topics. But, so next week we've got Battle Realms, and then the week after that is kind of quiet, but then the week after that we've got our episode 200, and then also mini extravaganzas that week. So it's going to be busy for, the next month after this. I was just typing out some Q&A stuff I was going to do later. All right. But yeah, we can go ahead and jump into a Mojoverse. So let's take a look here. Today we are doing Robin Williams movies for Mojo World. So starting off this week, we have Aaron, who conveniently got 0 votes last week. Oof. How did that make you feel?
It was a strong showing.
Strong showing, yeah.
Yeah.
You almost did as well as Parker.
It was close.
Who got a vote.
Yes.
So considering I lapped you guys by more than 4, what do you want to go with first, Aaron?
We're going to take Dead Poet Society.
Parker, is that a Robin Williams movie?
It is. One of the more famous ones that exists, yes.
Okay. I'll go with your word on that one.
It is not my favorite. I'm glad somebody else took it.
All right. Do you want to give me any information about it?
Oh, Dead Poet Society?
Yeah.
It's one of his more dramatic ones.
Okay. Is it earlier in his career, right?
Yeah, it's earlier in his career. You know it's one of his dramatic ones because he's wearing a beard. All of his dramatic ones he has a beard in, and all of his funny ones he doesn't.
That is an awesome observation.
It's really Robert Williams, his twin brother.
It might be. I don't want to spoil the movie too much for people who haven't seen it, but it's
no, just vague concept.
He is a teacher, and
he's a teacher
he
at
helps
a boys' school.
Yeah, he helps some children learn to explore outside the realm of their comfort zone.
Okay. Cool. All right, Parker, you got your first pick. What you got?
I'm gonna go with. This is really hard.
It is actually pretty hard.
I'm actually gonna go with Hook.
You fucking piece of shit.
I love that movie. Those movies like a super indelible part of my childhood.
Yeah, I fell in love with that movie when I was like 10 years old. It was so good.
To this day, you can go into any like public space where you know there's a couple 30 to 40-year-olds and just start yelling roofie, and somebody will go, "Oh!"
Yeah. It's not even. That's not even it. There's so many quotable lines from that movie too.
Oh, "Don't try to stop me, Shmee" is something that I can start. And my brother will finish it. "Don't try to stop me this time, Shmee. Don't try to stop me this time, Shmee."
Shmee try to stop me.
I'm committing suicide.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so dangerous. All right. Yeah, that's my number 1 overall pick. I'm gonna go with Aladin, iconic voice actor, and he gets credit for it, but still, he's such an amazing voice actor that I don't think people of this generation might realize. He was so influential for obviously us growing up, except for Aaron, who was born before Robin. Yep. So Aladin, pretty amazing. What are you laughing at?
That joke. That was.
What joke? I'm gonna look it up. I stand by what I said. I think we're gonna go with Jumanji as my next pick. As you can tell, I fell in love with Robin Williams in the 90s.
I was gonna say that movie is the source of so many of my nightmares.
Yeah.
Because
I remember, I think that was one of those movies we just left in the VHS player for like weeks on end. So I think I can, like, while watching that movie, if you put it on mute, I think I could tell you verbatim everything everybody says. Like, word for word, the entire movie.
What's bizarre about that movie for me is what I mean by nightmares is I watched the movie a million times, never scared of anything. But then at night, I would dream of those spiders like skittering across the floor. Like, that shit was creepy as hell.
It was so crazy, and like I don't remember. I'm sure watching it now would spoil me on it a little bit, but the CGI seemed so real back then, and I don't know if they just had good CGI or if it was just I was too young to realize how bad it was.
I'm pretty sure the spiders are practical effects. Like a lot of that stuff was.
I don't think so. I mean, some of it was, right?
Yeah,
the close-up stuff all was. But there was a lot of, like, superimposed. Like, they had a stampede through the house. Like, that was real.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, but, like, looking back, like,
great.
It looks so good for its time, yeah. Anyway, like, movies nowadays look more fake. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they just went too far with it. I don't know.
Well, it's because they just construct the entire house, right? They actually... They busted a wall out of a house and put the rhinos in it,
and then they superimposed over the top. Anyway, those are my first 2. Parker, you're up next.
I'm going to go with this is an easy one. I was so close to this one when I said Hook. Patch Adams. I love the movie Patch
We
Adams.
are going to get some serious hate mail.
Who's that?
I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm not going to pick it. But I thought this would have been first off the board.
Me too.
No, not Patch Adams. The movie I'm thinking of. I like Patch Adams as well, but it would not have been my first pick. It's on my list, but it was not my first pick.
Patch Adams hits me with. I sometimes relate to the character, and I didn't see that till I was already like teaching. It was later, a lot after, way back after it came out. I watched it, and I related it to it because I am often accused of being not serious enough in my job. People accuse me of taking it. They confuse seriousness with solemnity. That if someone is joking and having fun and enjoying themselves, that they must not be taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And that was a big point of the Patch Adams character, is that he believes very strongly that seriousness is not solemnity. And so I love the message of the film, particularly that one. So,
all right, Aaron, I need your final 2 picks.
Good Will Hunting.
There it is.
Yeah,
So I picked Dead Poets because he actually has a bigger role in Dead Poets, I think, than he does in Goodwill.
Fair. That's fair.
And the third one is Good Morning Vietnam.
That's another big one. So Good Will Hunting, I can't believe wasn't first, and you gave a good reasons why it wasn't.
Yep.
I haven't seen the entire movie, so I can't pick it. But yeah, Patch Adams was my first exposure to Robin Williams as a serious actor, and even in Patch Adams, he's very
he's comic, yeah,
flamboyant and comical, but it's still like it's a totally different tone than a lot of his other movies at the time. All right, Parker, your final pick.
I love this movie, The Birdcage.
I haven't seen that.
The Birdcage is just a ton. It's just a situational comedy, and it's all surrounds just one meal, one like dinner. But the cast is awesome, and the situation is so comical. Really fun movie.
Man, we really should have done this with 4 people here because there's a lot of meat on this bone. I'm gonna go with Father's Day. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I have not seen that one.
Oh, it's so funny. It's Billy Crystal and Robin Williams play strangers that are potentially the father of the same child. And so basically they both dated this woman years prior. And so she shows up to meet both of them. And Robin Williams' character is having, we'll call it a bad time. He literally has a gun in his mouth when the phone rings. and so he answers the phone, and he has to take the gun out of his mouth to talk to her. and she's like, hey, I don't know how to say this, but you have a son, and he needs your help. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't have anything going on, so I can definitely help. And then Billy Crystal, kind of the opposite. He's a very well put together guy. And she says the same thing to him. And so they both go looking for this kid who is missing. And they travel halfway across the country together because they meet each other immediately into looking for the kid. And they find out that she told them both the same thing. And so they don't know whose kid it is. So they spend the entire movie competing over who would be the best dad, but neither of them are parents. And so it's fucking hilarious. The shit that happens in that movie is crazy. Yeah, they end up, it's a Ron Williams movie, so it's a fairly happy ending, but you gotta watch it. It's super funny. Cool. I assume you guys have some honorable mentions. I definitely do.
I have 2. I loved both of these movies, but one of them is definitely a Robin Williams movie. The other one, he's kind of tangential. But Death to Smoochie. I love the movie Death to Smoochie. That's a real out there. I don't know how many people have ever seen that movie. And Man of the Year. The premise to Man of the Year was fun. I don't think the movie was that strong, but the premise was fun, and he did a good job.
Yeah.
I would have taken Night at the Museum if I had to.
Okay. But you wouldn't have wanted to. You would just, if you had to.
Yeah.
Really? There's none of the other ones you would have put up there on your list? There's 4 movies on here I wish I was able to say.
Miss Doubtfire. I forgot Miss Doubtfire.
Miss Doubtfire is fine. Fair. That was on my list. I actually skipped it to say Father's Day because I think Father's Day is more important to me, even though Mrs. Doubtfire is probably a better movie. But oh man, Father's Day is such a great movie. I would be depressed if I didn't say Flubber. Flubber is such a crazy, weird kids movie that is everyone should see at least once.
I just don't remember it. I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, it's very like zany, like more so than his normal movies. It's definitely for younger.
Is it like Green
audience.
Slime?
Yeah, he's a scientist. He's like a university teacher, and he invents this thing called flying rubber, which he names Flubber. Yeah. And it's
I know I've seen it. He has
like an AI robot that's like his only friend, and it's a very weird movie that's kind of like a serious undertone to it, but it's definitely a kid's movie. The next up, I would say, is 9 Months. He's a side character in 9 Months, but 9 Months is really funny. They beat up Barney, which is always worth watching. Bicentennial Man, I liked. And then Toys. Yeah, there's a bunch of great movies with Robin. Alrighty. I think it's a pretty good collection of movies we got here. I think it's going to be a good week. I'm glad we're back on movies. I think we haven't done movies. We did movies for so long that we were looking to do anything else for a while. And so I think we should get back to movies on a regular basis. So, Aaron, is there anything going on you want to talk about? Nothing at all. You've been really quiet.
I could commiserate about having to spend a week in Branson, but no one gives a shit about that.
I'd say a decent percentage of our audience lives in Missouri, so
okay.
They feel your pain.
Yeah. But we're back. My list of to-dos is done. I had another pleasant experience at the DMV. Man, I just love going there.
I actually like the DMV as well. I don't think I've had a bad experience at the DMV since I was first getting my license. And that was 20 years ago and 6 months, roughly.
Here's a question for you then. I've driven my new car 3,000 miles. How much do you think I spent in electricity to drive 3,000 miles?
Okay, let me take a look here. $225.
Parker, same question.
Say again? I missed the question.
He's driven his electric vehicle 3,000 miles. Mm-hmm. How much do you think he spent in electricity? Are we counting the electricity used for the vacuum to pull the deer hair out of your upholstery?
That's a different vehicle.
Different. I know it is, but are we counting that?
I refuse to answer your bait of a question.
What a weird thing to even know the answer to. I have no idea how much like a watt costs. Like how much I don't.
You don't know what your kilowatt hour rate is?
No.
Are you an adult? What the fuck?
Money goes in, money goes out. I don't
Hold on. I think I have mine in a spreadsheet right here. Hold on. Mine is 23 cents. It's actually in a spreadsheet. I had it in an open tab.
Wow.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't.
Aaron, who is this irresponsible child that we let on our podcast?
I don't understand. I think he has a new to-do, though.
I don't want to know. I don't.
I'll give you. That is a fair, acceptable answer, sir. You're off the hook. Good job. You know what? There's not many outs to that question, but you got one.
Okay, I'm gonna say $100.
You're doing this the hard way.
$100. Yeah. Just give it $100.
I think I'm within $20.
Okay. If I was driving a gas car at 30 miles to the gallon, it would have cost $350 to fill up. I spent $19.73.
I call bullshit. Your math's off.
My math is not off.
Your math is off.
I'm just saying, $19.73 for 3,000 miles. We're going to take that to the bank.
That's pretty good.
That means the car will essentially have paid for itself over a gas car in about 1 year and 3/4. So I spent my week doing a bunch of research with respect to that.
So you're saying you have 140 miles to the gallon?
Essentially, yes.
Equivalent?
Yep.
I call bullshit. I don't think you're right.
Okay. You can think I'm not right all day long.
You forgot to carry the one.
There are no ones.
No, that's
do you know what
good.
my electric rate that I get when I fill up the car is? Of course you don't.
It's because you changed your contract with your energy company to have cheap overnight. Right?
You are correct, yes.
And then so that you have a better kilowatt exchange rate at night, which is when you're charging the car.
Yep.
So I could definitely believe you're probably charging it like 13 cents a kilowatt hour.
2.5.
2.5 cents?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're paying 10% of what you should be paying to charge the car. That's what it is.
Well,
But
why would you not?
Well, no, but like
My
the trade-off for that,
regular rate is 11.
Yeah, so I was saying that means you're changing the daily amount. So you might be saving money on the car, but you should be paying more for your daily usage.
My overall electric bill when I switched to this rate went down about $50 a month.
So why were you on it already?
That's a great fucking question.
Ooh.
So
let's hold on. How long have you been in this house?
What year is it? 6 years?
6 years? All right, so that's times, it's what, 72 months?
Yep.
You spent $3,600 more than you needed to because you're on the wrong bill plan.
This rate wasn't available until June of this year.
So we're gonna add that to the amount of money you've already spent. So that's $3,619 you spent on gas.
Yeah.
So you're way behind.
I know. I'm working on it.
See, I've been just putting like quarter sticks of dynamite behind my car to push it forward, and that's been doing pretty well for me.
Does that work too? Okay.
Yeah, it's been great.
I like to roll down the window and blow backwards. I think that helps.
I blow forwards because you know what? Fuck them. I love life hacks that are like actually legitimate life hacks. Have you seen the seatbelt life hack?
No,
I don't want to.
It sounds fake because I love fake car hacks where it's like, don't forget to drill the screws into your tires to make sure you get better traction when the snow comes. But it's if you take your seatbelt, you pull it all the way out, pull it outside your car, and shut the door, which like pins the strap. It's theoretically, like what they claim is it's designed so that if you loop it over your shoulder while standing next to the car, that's how you're supposed to push the car while standing beside it. Is because it gives you a shoulder strap to pull the car. And then you can reach in and steer it. Have you guys never seen this? I just saw it for the first time this week.
Oh, so in case if you want to pull...
Yeah, let's say you run out of gas and you need to push the car like a quarter mile. You can pull the seatbelt out of your driver's side, shut the door on the strap, which will lock it in place, and then loop it over your shoulder and use that as a support to pull the car forward.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, it actually is. Like, that's actually legitimately useful. And so
you know what else you could do? Fucking call AAA.
Get gas. Yeah, you could, assuming you have cell service.
Well...
I can't wait for Aaron to get stranded without cell service and just stand on the side of the road like, what do now?
Yeah.
I've needed to move my car like out of an intersection before, like that kind of shit.
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, and everyone does the same thing. They put their hands on the window frame and try and push the car, and it's always hard to get a good angle. Uh-huh. And so it's like shoulder strap. Like that would make it easier.
Yeah,
to throw your back out.
Yeah, I've never had to pull my car, like push all my car to a service, but I've definitely had to pull it out of lanes or out of an intersection.
I have broken down on the same 100-foot stretch of road 3 times.
That's pretty unusual.
To be fair, I lived on that street for 15 years, but it's still like that specific spot. Did you know 151st Street by 31st Century? As you're heading towards I-35, right when you get to the bottom of that hill by Shy Mission South.
Yeah.
Right there, I've broken down 3 times.
That's Blue Valley South, but yeah.
Is it Blue? No, it's not. That's not Blue Valley.
That's Blue Valley.
Is it really?
Olathe South.
Olathe South, sorry, you're right. Yeah, it's not Shawnee Mission, it is Olathe South. Yeah, that exact spot where the road, there's a small bridge over the creek, right there, that I've broken down 3 times.
Huh.
Twice in the same car. I had to push my Dodge Dakota out of that spot twice.
That is a hefty vehicle.
The other time it was my Peugeot, and so that was quite easy.
Yeah.
Because it's a 180-pound moped.
Me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I blew the belt on my CBT, so I had to push it. All right, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, then we'll get this party started.
Aaron, I might finally get to play a game of the league on the very last day of the league tomorrow.
Nice. Didn't you play? Oh, you played, but you didn't get a league game. Yeah. Week 1.
I didn't get a league game that week, and then I couldn't play the next week. And then the third week, I specifically was trying to practice with Jeremy because he wanted to practice for your Judgment tournament. And I wanted to play more Zim because I was just really excited to do it. So we played some more Zim test stuff. Which is not to say that I have been totally stymied. I've been excitedly doing other things. But I am also excited to get to play. Everybody on their backside. It sounds fun. I wonder how many Green Goblins are going to show up just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, fair enough. Although only having 5 health kind of makes it out a little rough.
Yeah.
But he can never die.
Yeah. The never dying thing is interesting. Like, you'll never contest, but you'll never die. Except for your healthy character. It's going to be interesting. I suspect Deadpool's also to be funny.
Yeah, Deadpool would be the one to take, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Of course, but you already have to have your roster.
Right.
And, people who chose villains can't splash Deadpool, so I'm sure someone could try to, cheese it if they wanted to.
But it's also not like Deadpool is the best character in the world. He just will score more easily, 1 point. So,
yeah.
Spin your finger around. Yay.
You guys ready?
So ready.
So ready.